Hello, fellow Virginians. The number one question I get asked is the same question you should be asking yourself. What would you do as governor if a natural disaster was to occur, and to make sure we, the citizens, are not abandoned like we have been with the previous administration, except for when the president decides to get involved instead of having somebody active from the start? Well, I was told the same audience. Day one, we won't be having people living in tents and people seeing what's going on in North Carolina and what's going on in parts of Virginia as an example. Day one would make sure that all citizens is housed in a warm, safe area, making sure that they can start the recovery process on day one. Two, I will also put as priority for localities to have a second method of having the free flow of water to make sure that citizens never have the problems that they had in Richmond. Three, the National Guard and on any state of emergency will be assembled and ready to go in the localities and hotspots that we have to deal with to make sure people have the adequate resources as well as law enforcement to back up to continue to save lives and continue to make sure people are okay. Three, we also have also done a great job in letting localities know, form yourself mutual aid agreements with other localities so you can have these localities on standby and making sure both sides. Mutual aid agreements is always important for law enforcement. It also gives them a chance to review those policies to make sure their response is even better from the time of before. We are trying to be great at everything, and it's okay to be above your readiness and preparedness here in Virginia because Virginia needs that type of leadership, and I'm going to encourage that type of leadership. Memorandums of Understanding allows law enforcement to get immediate assistance from locations or localities to help give them more numbers and more resources and capacity that is better trained for the areas. Because when these mutual aid agreements are done, training is done in these different localities so they are prepared to respond to each other's emergency. This makes sure Virginians know that not only law enforcement, Merle Rutledge is all about answers, not the liberal drama. I'm making sure you know that I put politics to the side and put a game plan that is inclusive of everyone to be on board with and together at the time frames we need them the most. One thing we have learned throughout history, no state should totally rely on the federal government to step in and do the job of state leaders. What has happened over the last couple of years is, of course, a terrible display of it. I do not agree with the Republican top leaders in Virginia. That's because the parts of Virginia that they abandon doesn't agree that they represent all of Virginia, which is exactly what I'm trying to do. Represent all of Virginia.